So Liverpool beat Brentford today by 4-1. It was a game that a lot of Reds, myself included, were approaching with a bit of trepidation because, well, it's Brentford away. It's a difficult place to go. Liverpool have struggled down there in the past. I think this was the first Premier League win down there away to Brentford. 12:30 kickoff and all that. Liverpool don't really like them, or Jurgen Klopp doesn't really like them. And Brentford could be a side that can physically dominate you if you allow them to play on the front foot. Liverpool never really did that today, apart from those open exchanges in the first 10-15 minutes when Brentford came out the traps and they were looking bright, they were looking hungry, the crowd were up for it. Liverpool let that peter out, and then eventually got control of the game, put the foot on the ball, and then they dominated the game throughout, really, and never really looked in too much danger of losing this game or not getting 3 points, especially after Darwin Núñez opened the scoring. So looking through the team, seeing how they did, starting in goal with Kelleher, I thought he had a really good game. Really unlucky with the goal because it was a fantastic, point-blank save. He couldn't really deflect it away from the goal. He just didn't have the time to really do those kind of things. So he was unlucky that it went back into the path of Ivan Toney. He looked really frustrated with not keeping a clean sheet, but I think he had a really good game, and it'll give him a bit more confidence, going into probably Luton and certainly the Carabao Cup final. He looked like he's going to be playing those games at least, but he did really well, so I'm happy for the lad. Centre-backs, again, I'll be saying this probably throughout the whole team, is that they never allowed themselves to get dominated, and we've seen the best centre-backs, kind of struggle down there at times, and they were great, still calm, collected, still, it's very rare you'll ever see a bead of sweat on Virgil van Dijk's head at all. Canate didn't really have to fly in too much with some of his, more trademark blocks and stuff like that. It never happened for them. The aerial duels never really happened for them, in terms of Ivan Toney making himself a nuisance and stuff like that. It just never really materialised. So the centre backs did great in my eyes. Fullback wise, I was a little bit surprised not to see Joe Gomez start. I thought that Klopp would kind of opt to put Gomez in there because he's really good at stepping up and being that extra midfield player. But Jurgen Klopp is an elite football manager and I'm not. So he went for the opposite route of having two kind of aggressive front foot flying fullbacks who can play high up the pitch, and they really pinned Brentford's wing-backs back, and the wing-backs never really got any territorial advantage. Andy Robertson stepped inside a little bit, but looking at the heat maps, they just dominated Brentford's half without really going to the final third too much. I think they were a bit wary on leaving space behind them, being open to the counter, and they just controlled that space. Even when they didn't have the ball, they just controlled it. Special mention to Conor Bradley. Really unlucky not to score what would have been a really good goal, but it's fantastic to see him back in the side. So looking at the midfield with Suru Endu, fantastic. That's the kind of performance you want to see from a defensive midfield player. It's the kind of performance that we've missed at times, maybe with, certainly since Fabinho hasn't been there, and also in the season where Fabinho's levels dipped, and we really missed that. And Endo, fantastic. He's a specialist. Sometimes you don't really notice that he's there or what he's doing. Certainly today, he didn't really add anything creative, didn't really add anything really much in the final third, apart from one moment. But that's not what he's there for. He has got that in his locker, but that's not what he's there for. He's working at the tip of a triangle between the centre-backs, worked in tandem with the centre-back duo. I thought he was fantastic. Obviously, this allows McAllister to play a little bit further forward. It didn't work out for McAllister against Burnley. Today, it really did work out for him. I thought he was top draw. Got rewarded with a goal, which, great ball from Mo Salah. But then, when McAllister gets it, he really sets himself up and he does the work, does the hard work himself there. Great first touch, and it opens things up for a little toe poke home, and he really deserved that. It looked like he enjoyed it. I'd like to see a couple more goals from him, but now he's playing a bit further up the pitch. Maybe we'll see that. Oh, Curtis Jones, gutted, absolutely gutted for the lad, because I think he's brilliant. I think he's had a really good season. He's really pushed on and took his game to a different level, and we don't look as good when he's not on the side. So I'm hoping there's going to be some positive news about Curtis Jones. I'm hoping he's not going to be out for a while. He was leaving the stadium on crutches, we heard. Jurgen Klopp didn't seem too concerned by that. More of a precaution. So I'm hoping that we'll get some positive news on Monday or Tuesday that Curtis Jones is not going to be out for a considerable period of time. It'd be really good if he could come back for the Carabao Cup final next week, because he deserves it. He deserves that medal. So fingers crossed on that. Up front, Luis Diaz got an assist. Was busy in himself. Looked dangerous in parts. I think he looks better with Andy Robertson as a fullback. It allows him to kind of cut inside and operate in those central areas. But obviously Andy Robertson can still stretch the play. And Liverpool just look a lot more balanced with those two players on the left. I thought he'd done well today. Clever assist for the goal there. Up top, Darwin Núñez. I've been critical of Núñez in the past. A lot of people have. I mean, I like the lad. I like the lad. I don't want to see him do well, but there's times when you see him one-on-one with a goalkeeper and he's been woeful at times. He doesn't have that composure, doesn't seem to have the creativity. He'll opt to blast the ball. And today it was everything was completely different. He looked relaxed. He looked in control of the situation. And the goalkeeper didn't go to ground. Yet Darwin Núñez just comes up with a deft touch, beautiful touch that just made it impossible for the keeper to get near. It was a really creative moment, really encouraging to see him take that kind of finish. He could have not bottled it, but he could have played it safe and laid it off to Jota for a more of a certain goal. But he took responsibility, and that was really good to see. So a little bit more of that from Núñez, please. Apart from that, I think he only had 18 or 19 touches in the game. Some not mega involved, but he's there to stretch the play. He wasn't really there to occupy those drop deeper, occupy those kind of positions. So he did what he was meant to do. As I say, run the channel, stretch the game, become a handful, and it was a good game for Núñez. And then on the right, Diogo Jota. I think we're all gutted to see what happened to him. It's just a freak thing. And you go on social media, you see a lot of people being really critical of the Liverpool medical, team. These people have got no medical background, no background in sports science, no background in being an athlete at the highest possible level. Yet they've got these, just ridiculous insights of what's going wrong, and they can be critical of these professionals who are at the top of the game. But today, how could you blame medical team for what happened today to Jota? Even though I've seen people doing it already, it's crazy. So it looked painful. It looked horrible for Jota, and he's a tough lad. It doesn't look very good. It doesn't look good at all. So I think everyone's got the fingers crossed that it's not going to be as bad as what we fear at the moment. So fingers crossed we see him on a pitch soon, because we're going to need him in this title running, because he's the man for the big occasion. He's Mr. Reliable. So, get well soon, Diogo. And one of the good things about the situation where we're forced into some substitutions was Mohamed Salah. I was gutted to see him come on, because I was really hoping that he wouldn't get any time today, that we could maybe win the game without even, seeing Salah come on the pitch. I thought, he's playing pretty much a full half of football. What's going to happen? And he was fantastic. He looked like the freshest, the most fluid I've seen him in a long time. He's come back completely refreshed, big smile on his face, and he just looked like he wanted to do some damage today. He got an assist, he got a goal, he loved it, and you can see he loves being back playing football. He must hate being out, and obviously the African Cup of Nations didn't go well for him, probably very frustrating, but now he's back at Liverpool, and he can possibly win 4 trophies this season. That's what he's going to be wanting to do. Whether that's possible is another thing, but that's what he's going to be aiming to do. And you can see how much the hunger, the professionalism Mohamed Salah, what more needs to be said? So yeah, it was a great day in terms of Liverpool. Obviously, later on the day, Manchester City dropped points against Chelsea. They absolutely battered Chelsea for the most part. Chelsea defended brilliantly up to about 80 minutes, and then I think Rodri scored. Bit of a deflection, but City deserved it. I mean, Erling Haaland missed loads of chances. It's not often you say that. And, you know, City were trying, but the luck ran out somewhat, you know, which is going to happen. And people panicking maybe when we lost to Arsenal, saying, you know, we've got to win every game and all this kind of stuff. City are going to drop points. Liverpool are going to drop points. Arsenal are going to drop points. Let's see what happens. It's going to be a fun title run in. I think if Liverpool can get to the Manchester City game and win all those games up to the City game, then that's all I care about, really, because they're all winnable, all games that we should be winning. I think we just need to give ourselves that platform. You can't guarantee on anything in football in terms of we need to win this game, we need to win this game, we need to win this game. But if we can get to the City game taking maximum points, even if they take maximum points, it just puts us in the driving seat. And you know, Man City at Anfield with the chance to really for us to inflict some damage and to enter that final-ish stage of the season in the driving seat, it would be fantastic. But, you know, there's a lot of football to be played before we get there, so I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm going to say we've got Luton on Wednesday night at Anfield. It should be a good game. We could probably do Everton a favour there, but, you know, that's the way it goes, isn't it? Yeah, a good day for football to be a Liverpool fan. It's exciting time. If you can't enjoy being top of the league and still fighting for 4 trophies, you know, as you get to the end of February, then what's the point? What is the point? So, yeah, up the Reds.